Welcome into Dolphins Today. As promised, some more takeaways from the Dolphins preseason opener. We are about, we'll round and say 250 subscribers away from 43,000. Help us get there. We've got a new host coming in the near future. He's been hired, so I'm just the temporary one. The new full-time guy will be here in just a little bit. Make sure you guys are subscribed for all the best coverage on the Dolphins. Hit that sub button right now. It was a loss for the Dolphins in the preseason opener. Although some of you guys disagree with me in the comment section, that's fine. I still think the Dolphins outplayed the Falcons up until the final 3-ish minutes of the game where it all really quickly fell apart. We did some winners and losers, injury updates last night. Now we'll do some more takeaways, more in depth on a few topics here, beginning with the backup quarterback situation. Quarterback 2 is still a concern for me, and I suspect many of you guys out there watching. To be quite blunt, neither Mike White nor Skylar Thompson impressed me that much. I was convinced we were going to get some Thompson magic fourth quarter comeback. Ended up not being that at all. I thought both players left too many plays on the field. Thompson, 2 interceptions. One was an arm punt, who cares? But he didn't feel the pressure that well, I felt like. Didn't deliver in the moments. Mike White had the ball inside the 10 a few times and could not deliver. And that was, again, a pretty big disappointment for me. The stats don't pop off either. If you want to combine their numbers, you can see the individuals on here. The combined quarterback play was 19 of 30, 149 yards, a 6.3 average, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. They were sacked 5 times. We'll talk about the offensive line as part of this here in a little bit. The quarterback rating, not a perfect metric, to be clear, but when it's 41.5, that's not exactly very good. I'll give the slight edge to Mike White in that game, but the red zone interception, missing, I think, 2 potential touchdowns on different plays, really, really hurt the Dolphins. And it was a disappointment. There's no way around it. I thought it could have been a much better performance out of one or both of those players. It is a battle for quarterback 2. I give the edge to Mike White, but I was underwhelmed. Who, if you have to pick one now, despite the concerns, I think we're both, to be fair, pick one. MW for Mike White, ST for Skylar Thompson. It's the pinned comment on today's show. So if an ad plays here on YouTube, fine. Ignore the ad. Go vote instead. I'm going to move Erik Ezukanma from bubble to, he's on the roster. I saw enough in that lone game from Double E to put him on this 53-man roster for the Dolphins, barring injury. He only had 3 catches for 15 yards. That certainly is not the most impressive stat line, but he had 2 carries for 52 yards, a fantastic spin move against Zach Harrison to avoid a sure TFL. Looked explosive out there. He looked like the most explosive, dynamic player on either side of the football last night in terms of the skill guys, and there were some other players we'll talk about here. Braxton Berrios had 2 catches for 11 yards. Hill, Waddle, I think Berrios, Ezukanma are all going to be on this team. Cedric Wilson didn't do much. Robbie Chosen was a complete no-show in that particular game. I believe he was playing, just didn't do anything. They tried to, I think, dial up some deep balls there that were covered off by the Falcons' defense. But, Mike McDaniel, asked at halftime about Izakama, says he's a physical guy. He's had a really good offseason. It's good to see him do the stuff we know he's capable of. Stock arrow absolutely up for Izakama. Now, speaking of stock up, how about this NFL Jam t-shirt? I think you guys should get yours. chatsports.com/DolphinsJam. It's got Tyreek Hill and Tua Tagovailoa on there. Or the NFL Blitz version with Dan Marino. Did you play NFL Blitz, or was that too far before your time, producer Chris? You did play it? Oh, too far before your time? Nah, you're a youngin'. That was a fun game. chatsports.com/DolphinsJam. Get some nostalgia going with those t-shirts. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. Let's discuss the running backs. I thought they looked pretty good. We did not see much of Salvon Ahmed in that game. He was just kind of, maybe he's ahead of the guys based on the playing time there, but they wanted to get the rookies some reps as well. I thought Myles Gaskin, Achane, and Chris Brooks, the 3 guys who got the majority of the work, all fared pretty well. Their touches, so receptions and carries combined, total yards, Gaskin was 9 for 77. Achane was 14 of 66. Chris Brooks was 6 of 35. I will make note for Brooks in particular, A couple nice runs were called back by holdings that would have boosted his numbers to a bit of a higher metric from that perspective. So I thought the running backs overall played pretty well. Give some credit to the run blocking of the offensive line with still some weaknesses, which we'll get to here in a moment. But I want you guys to grade the Dolphins and their performance as a unit, as a team, against the Falcons. A, B, C, D, or F. The result isn't as important, frankly, doesn't really matter. But there were some concerns in this game. So sound off for me in the comment section right now. Let's discuss the left guard battle. Now, I was still basing it off of the live, I guess the condensed version copy, because I have no life and I stayed up late rewatching the game because it's just how I'm wired. The starters did not play up front on the offensive line. There was no Armstead, no Lamb, no Williams, no Feeney, no Hunt. Jackson got some reps because he needs it. But Liam Eichenberg and Isaiah Wynn were the predominant left guards in this particular game. And if I have to give the edge to one of them, I think I'd give it to Isaiah Wynn over Liam Eichenberg. Not saying that he was like off the charts great or whatever, but I think the slight edge to Wynn. And I do not think this battle is over. I think this left guard competition will continue to go all throughout the preseason. In fact, I would not be shocked if, assuming the Dolphins also flip Skylar Thompson, Mike White next week with who starts at quarterback, if the Dolphins then flip Eichenberg and Wynn as the starter along that side. Now, maybe they give some reps to the starters in preseason week 2. That's been kind of coy so far from Mike McDaniel. But that left guard battle, I think Wynn is gaining some ground on Eichenberg. I think there were some iffy reps for Eichenberg. I thought Wynn overall played pretty well. So pick a left guard. I think I know which route you guys will mostly go, but sound off in the comments. IW for Isaiah Wynn. LE for Liam Eichenberg. Get those votes in for me in the comments section right now. Finally, you just can't make the boneheaded mistakes that you made in that game. Maybe nothing else quite summed up than all I can do is just laugh at it because it was so ridiculous. Jalen Twyman diving at the defender. He played pretty well, but then he dives at the quarterback after he gave himself up, gets up celebrating, goes, "What do you mean that's a flag? Like, what are we doing out there?" There were way too many mistakes, self-inflicted wounds that prevented the better team, the team that played better, the Dolphins, from winning. They were 0 of 2 on 4th downs, into the 5. You know what? That's fine. I actually don't mind going for it. Can't have it. 4 turnovers. Fellas, what are we doing out here? It was three interceptions, 1 by Mike White, 2 by Skylar Thompson, a strip sack of a blindside sack as James Turnstile was terrible. I know it's Tunstall. I'm calling him Turnstile. I'm mean. You allowed a pick 6 and a 79-yard punt return, which, to be fair, was like the one fun play of the game for both teams, but still, that's bad. The penalties were 8 for 72. You had 3 different drives inside the 10, and you came away with 0 points. If you ignore like the turnover portion of the score of the box score, it's like, oh, the Dolphins won easily. Yeah, well, they didn't, and they got blown out. The final 3 minutes completely went the wrong way. Maybe if Mike White doesn't throw the interception on the opening drive, tough throw, good defensive play to be fair, it's a different game for Miami. But that was a disappointing result for the Dolphins, and I'm sure Mike McDaniel will use to motivate his players to play much better in week 2. There are still guys, after all, fighting for a roster spot.